If you clicked on this video right now, pay very close attention. What has happened in your home over the last few weeks was not luck. It was not a coincidence. It was not just your intuition. God's angel has just interrupted an evil plan that was being orchestrated against your family. And you need to know exactly what happened, what might still happen, and what God is showing you through this video at this very minute as you breathe. You can stop everything you were doing. Lower the volume of your surroundings, take a deep breath and listen, because in the next few minutes, I am going to reveal to you 3 clear signs that heaven has intervened within your home, the 3 spiritual doors that the enemy was using to attack your family without you realizing it, and what you need to do this very day to seal this house before the evil plan is reactivated. And believe me, it will be reactivated if you do not act. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night at exactly the same times for no apparent reason? Have you felt a heaviness in your chest upon entering your own home, as if the air were different? Have you noticed that family arguments started out of nowhere, over the smallest things in aggressive tones that aren't yours? Have you noticed that the children have started having recurring nightmares, that appliances have failed in sequence, or that a strange exhaustion has taken over the house without anyone actually being sick? This is not all in your head, this is war. And I am going to explain to you now with clarity, depth and honesty why the plan against your family was halted by God's angel, but still requires your response. Before I continue, I need to ask you something serious. If you felt a chill when you started watching, if your heart raced, or if a tear came without you understanding why, write the word chosen in the comments, because when you write it, you confirm in the spiritual world that you have received the warning. And activate the bell here on the channel so you don't miss the next videos, because what is coming is directed at families in the process of deliverance. Now pay attention to the first sign. The first sign that the angel intervened in your home is what many people call a near miss, but which is actually divine intervention in disguise. Think with me, that accident that almost happened on the highway, that fall you almost took on the stairs, that dog that almost bit the child, that bad news that arrived about someone close to you but didn't hit anyone inside your home, that fight that almost ended in separation, that flight you missed and later found out would have been a complicated trip. How many almosts have happened in your life in the last 6 months? Make that list mentally right now. Each almost is the finger of the angel diverting a blow that was scheduled to land. The Bible is clear about this in Psalm 91, when it says that the angels are given orders concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. But most people do not see these deliverances. They pass right by. They give thanks out of reflex and forget. And when they forget, they open a gap for the evil plan to begin articulating itself again in silence. Here is the hard truth that no one tells you. The enemy does not give up after the first block. He retreats, recalculates, waits for your distraction, and returns. That is why deliverance without awareness is only half a deliverance. And it is at this point that I need to stop and look into your eyes, on the other side of the screen, to tell you something that perhaps you haven't processed yet. This restlessness that brought you here, this silent tightness in your chest, this sudden urge to protect your own, this desire to understand what is happening in the invisible realm, is not a casualty. It is a calling, knocking on the door of your spirit. Many people feel it, but few recognize it. And those who do recognize it almost never know what to do with what they have received. It is like having a sword of protection in your hands and never learning how to lift it. That is why I prepared a powerful digital book for you, called God's Chosen Manual for Family Protection. It is a material that gives you step by step the spiritual sealing prayers for the home, the exact points of the house that need to be consecrated, how to identify the type of attack that is coming before it manifests, and what to do when the signs start to repeat. Families who have applied this manual report peace returning in less than a week, children sleeping without nightmares, arguments disappearing and blessings that were blocked finally flowing. The link is in the description of this video and in the first pinned comment. Do not leave it for later, because content like this can be removed without notice, and the calling that arrived today does not return in the same tone tomorrow. Write down below, "I am chosen," and confirm in this instant that you received this message. Now let's go into the second sign, and this is the most subtle, the most dangerous to ignore. When the angel of God intervenes in a home, there is a strange silence that takes over for a few days. And it is not a silence of tranquility, it is a silence of a paused war. You notice that the house gets too quiet, no one argues, no one complains. The children play more calmly, your spouse treats you with a kindness that is out of the ordinary. But you feel deep down that there is something lingering in the air as if time were suspended. This silence is the moment when the enemy has been repelled but is still prowling. He was expelled from the center of the house, but he stayed on the outskirts, watching through a crack. And if you do not occupy that space with prayer, with active gratitude, with words of blessing spoken out loud, he re-enters through another door. Because in the spiritual world, empty territory is taken territory. And here comes something that science, even without wanting to admit it, is beginning to study. Neuroscience has already proven that emotionally charged environments alter the brain functioning of the people who live in that space. Researchers at Stanford University and Johns Hopkins University have already documented how homes with a history of constant fighting show patterns of chronic stress in the residents, even on calm days. The body holds it, the walls hold it, the atmosphere holds it. What science calls the emotional memory of the environment, the Bible was already calling an open door over 2,000 years ago. Same phenomenon, different names. Think of your house now. In which room do you feel the most weight? Which corner do you avoid without knowing why? Where do the children complain that there's something strange? Where can't you sleep properly even though you're exhausted? These spots are not random. They are marks left by old spiritual onslaughts. And when you start to identify these marks, you understand why the angel needed to enter with such force this past month inside your home. The third sign, and this one will leave you speechless, is when people leave your life all of a sudden, without a logical explanation. Someone who was a constant presence suddenly disappears. A friend, a co-worker, a close relative, a neighboring couple. You find it strange, you feel like reaching out, but something holds you back. Do not insist, because in 90% of cases of deep family deliverance, God distances people who are channels for the attack, even without them being aware of it. It is not judgment. It is not malice. It is protection. There are people who, even while loving you, carry spiritual weights that contaminate your field. There is envy disguised as affection, jealousy masquerading as concern, rituals done in secret to help that actually cause a blockage. And the angel, when he goes into action, not only blocks the blows but also removes the carriers. That is why so many people, at this exact moment in your life, are going through an inexplicable distancing that even hurts, but which is part of the cleansing. And maybe you are living this right now and still don't understand. Keep this calling in your heart, because what comes next will give you the key. That is why I prepared that powerful digital book for you, the God's Chosen Manual for Family Protection, with specific prayers to seal these 3 signs within your home. The link is in the description and in the first comment. Do not delay, because every hour of delay is one more hour of an open gap. Comment, "My house is sealed," and assume your mission now. And this leads us to the most important point of this video. Now that you understand you have been delivered, you need to understand where the attack came from, because if the door is not closed, the plan returns. It always returns. There are 3 main spiritual doors that the enemy uses to enter the American home. And I make a point of saying American because our culture has nuances that most foreign spiritual teachings do not address. The United States is a country of syncretism, of frontier religiosity, of crossed spiritual heritages. This directly affects the atmosphere of our homes, even when a person does not practice any of it consciously today. The first door is the door of heritage. Data from the Pew Research Center shows that over 90% of Americans have some declared religious connection, but what few talk about is that more than half grew up in environments of spiritual plurality. Grandparents who went to spiritualist centers, mothers who attended occult gatherings, fathers who prayed to folk shrines, and yet declared themselves of another religion. This creates what family spirituality experts call a crossed spiritual heritage, a type of opening that passes from generation to generation without anyone noticing. If your grandfather or grandmother attended some place where spiritual consultations were made, if someone in your family left a symbolic object in your house, if you have memories of specific prayers made by your grandmother, in a low voice over your forehead when you were a child. If there is an old photograph that no one has the courage to take off the wall for a reason no one can explain, all of this can be an entry point, not as an eternal curse, but as a pathway that needs to be formally closed in conscious prayer. The second door is the door of the invisible agreement. How many times have you said, "I can't take it anymore. I'd rather die. My life is a disgrace. Nothing works out for me. This family is cursed. All the money that comes in here just slips away." These phrases seem like venting, but in the spiritual world they function like signed contracts. You are, without knowing it, authorizing that thing to materialize. And the enemy is a loyal lawyer. He keeps every word to use against you later. A study from Duke University on emotional language and mental health has already shown that American adults, especially those over 35, repeat an average of more than 20 negative phrases a day, many of them about their own family, their own body, their own future. This, added to the stress of the daily American routine, creates a dense emotional field. Religious people call this a heavy spiritual atmosphere. Psychologists call it a depressive cognitive bias. Both are describing the same reality with different names. The third door, and the most common in American homes today, is the door of digital distraction. And here I want you to stop and think calmly. How many hours a day is your house submerged in screens? How many hours does your family spend without looking each other in the eye? How many meals happen with each person plunged into their own cell phone? In houses where the silence between people is filled by constant digital noise, the spirit of the home weakens, not because technology is evil in itself, but because the absence of presence is a vacuum, and a spiritual vacuum is always filled by something. This generation of fathers and mothers over 35, whom you likely represent, is living through a pressure never before seen in the history of the American family. Taking care of children, taking care of elderly parents, paying bills that never stop rising, keeping a marriage alive, keeping faith alive, keeping mental health intact, and still finding some energy for yourself. It is exactly in this silent overload that the evil plan installs itself. Because when you are exhausted, you don't pray. When you are distracted, you don't notice. When you are discouraged, you don't fight. And when you are discouraged, you open the door without meaning to. But today something changed. The angel entered, the plan was interrupted, and you are here breathing, listening, feeling. That is already an answer. That is already proof. And it is at this very instant that I tell you, looking into your soul, you feel that something greater is happening. You feel that this message did not arrive by mistake. You feel that your family was rescued and that now it is your turn to lift the shield. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, the God's Chosen Manual for Family Protection. Inside it, you will find the 3 specific prayers to close each of these doors I just revealed to you, the declarations to break the invisible agreements your mouth made unintentionally, the 7-minute daily ritual that seals the home from dawn to dusk, and the protection method that American mothers from all regions of the country have already applied and reported in emotional testimonials, that their homes were never the same again. Children who were involved in the wrong things came home. Husbands who were distant grew closer. Money that was blocked began to circulate. Illnesses that appeared out of nowhere stopped manifesting. And it all started with the decision not to ignore the calling that arrived on an ordinary day, exactly like the one you are living today, through a video that seemed like a casualty but wasn't. The link is in the description of this video and pinned in the first comment. Click now before you close this tab and life distracts you again, because distraction is one of the enemy's favorite weapons. Write in the comments the phrase, "My family is sealed by the Lord," and publicly assume your position as the guardian of this house. Share this video with 3 people from your family, because a prayer chain breaks a chain of curses. Now comes the practical part. What do you need to do in the next 48 hours to definitively seal this deliverance and prevent the attack from returning from another angle? First, choose a moment of absolute silence in the house. It could be in the middle of the night, early in the morning, or late in the afternoon when everyone has gone out. Walk through the rooms slowly, one by one. In each room, stop, breathe, and declare out loud, even if quietly, that this space belongs to God. You don't need a complicated formula. A phrase like, "This room is consecrated, no evil enters here, no plan takes root, this house is a living altar," already carries more strength than you imagine. Second, identify a door that you already know is open. It could be an old grudge, a hidden sin, a habit you've tried to quit several times, a toxic relationship you insist on maintaining, an object kept in the back of the closet that reminds you of a dark time. And close it, consciously in prayer with practical action. Throw it away, delete it, forgive, stop following, block. A closed door no longer negotiates. Third, gather your family, even if just in a single symbolic gesture. It could be a prayer before dinner. It could be a word of blessing before bed. It could be a long hug for your child saying softly, "I cover you, I protect you." These physical gestures, charged with intention, function as spiritual seals. The Bible teaches that where 2 or 3 are gathered in God's name, He is in the midst of them. And where God is in the midst, the enemy has no place. Fourth, and this step most people ignore, practice active gratitude for 30 days straight. Every morning before anything else, before picking up your phone, before opening your banking app, before checking the news, give thanks for 3 specific things about your family. Specific, not generic. I am thankful for my daughter's health today. I am thankful for my husband's job. I am thankful for the house I still have. Specific gratitude is a spiritual anchor. Generic gratitude is just wind. And fifth, and perhaps the hardest of all, forgive. Forgive those who hurt you in the past. Forgive those who still hurt you. Forgive yourself for who you used to be. Because a harbored grudge is a magnet for attack. Every unforgiven person is a crack open within your spirit. And the angel may have interrupted the current plan, but he cannot close doors that you refuse to close. I want you to stop now and look around your house for a second. Look at the walls, the furniture, the objects, the people who sleep under this roof. All of this was preserved by an invisible hand. All of this was marked to be shaken, and it wasn't. This deserves reverence. This deserves a response. This deserves for you to stand up, make a decision, and change. Maybe you are thinking now as you listen to me, but I am nobody. I'm not religious. I don't even know if I deserve this. Stop. A chosen one is not someone who deserves it. A chosen one is someone who was marked from on high, and God does not miss his target. If you are hearing these words at this very instant, it is because your name is in heaven's book of protection. Period. But choice has weight. An ignored calling becomes distance. A disregarded sign becomes hardness of heart. And the angel who entered today may not enter the same way next time if you pretend nothing happened. I want you to do one thing now before the end of this video. Take a deep breath. Place your hand on your chest, right over your heart, and say out loud, even if alone, even if whispering, the following phrase: I accept the deliverance, I close the doors, I protect my house. This phrase, spoken with intention, whether in the presence of the Holy Spirit or just in the deepest part of your conscious being, reorganizes the atmosphere of your home immediately. You will feel it. It might be a chill, it might be a sudden peace, it might be a tear. Whatever it is confirmation. If you did this, comment the word Amen below. Not as an automatic religious tradition, but as the conscious confirmation of a man or a woman who has just taken their place. Because commenting is an act, and acts have weight in the invisible realm. If you have made it this far, understand this with me. It was not by chance. This video found you at the exact moment your house needed an answer. There is no randomness when it comes to the spiritual protection of the family. Everything was woven together so that this message would hit your chest on this specific day. And now you have only 2 choices before you. You either close this video and go back to your routine as if nothing happened, and wait for the evil plan to reorganize itself in silence, or you accept that you were called and act immediately. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, the God's Chosen Manual for Family Protection, with all the sealing prayers, the consecration points for each room, the phrases to break invisible agreements, and the daily family rituals that keep the home's atmosphere shielded for entire generations. Thousands of American families have already applied this material and report real and verifiable changes. The link is in the description of this video and also in the first pinned comment. Do not delay, because this content can be removed at any time, and today's calling does not repeat tomorrow in the same way. Comment, "I am chosen, my house is sealed," and share this video with 3 people in your family. Subscribe to this channel, activate the notification bell and prepare your heart, because the next videos will go even deeper into this calling and take you to layers that few can access. And remember one thing before you leave. You are not a survivor. You are chosen. And God did not choose you to lose. God chose you to win, to protect, and to build a spiritual legacy that will span generations. Stand up, seal this house, and walk until the next video. Peace to your house, peace to your family, and victory in the name of the Lord.